We're live.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 290 of the Co-op Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Bailey Jr., and today I'm joined by Mr. Gary A. Swaby. How's it going, Gary?
It's going good. Thank you very much. Good to have you back, Rich. And I hope you enjoyed your weekend last week.
Oh, yes. It was a life-changing wedding. Obviously, my very good friend. Once again, congratulations to him and his wife. They are now on their honeymoon in South Africa. So I look forward to hearing what he has to say about that when he returns. But yeah, I'm definitely back. Definitely ready to talk about some news today.
Sounds
And
good. Congratulations
yes,
to them.
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And we're also joined by Mr. Edward Velasquez. How's it going, Ed?
What's up? Just catching up on these books written by Gary Swaby over here,
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because
Yeah, you
Gary.
gotta introduce him properly. It's
Yeah,
a award-winning author we got here.
uh, I don't know about award winning, but yeah, I did publish two books this week. For anyone who doesn't know and isn't following me, one of them is called Descendants of the Elders. It's like a sci-fi fantasy mashup. It's got a lot of like influences from Mass Effect and Dragon Age and Final Fantasy, things like that. And I released another one, which is a novella, which is more of a short story, and that's called Starfade, and it's more of like a sci-fi cyberpunk story about a hacker. So you can check those out on the Amazon store right now. You know, if you're into fiction and stuff and sci-fi, definitely go check them out. And thanks to everyone for all the support you showed me this week as well. I didn't realize there was going to be so much support. So thank you to everyone.
absolutely. And one quick thing I will add, I will say that is an excellent endorsement. But I would recommend that the next time you talk about the book, you say it is has influences from the original Mass Effect trilogy. We need to make sure people don't think this is like Andromeda. No, nah, son. Make sure you redirect that and say it's the original Mass Effect trilogy, the one that's actually good.
Oh yeah, definitely the good ones. So
You mean the only good one, the first one?
so
Uh-oh.
so wait, because most people say Mass Effect 2 was the best. Like, which one do you think is the best? You think the first one?
I think one and two,
Okay.
Yeah,
but I
I,
think
I
everybody agrees that three was kind of
Three, like I liked three. Like three was okay from a gameplay standpoint, and I like how they wrapped up some of the storylines, but yeah, like the overall ending wasn't good at all.
I'll be honest, by three, I didn't really know what the story was at that point.
There wasn't really a story. It was like closing up all the stories from the previous games, and then like saving the universe. Well, trying to save the universe, basically, from
The
the
only game that has a story that's more overrated than Mass Effect is Metal Gear Solid.
uh
Like, people pretend to know what the hell's going on in those games, but nobody knows.
I'm not gonna lie though, like Mass Effect 1 through 3, like those were very good stories. But like after that it got a bit out of control.
Fair enough.
oh yeah, absolutely. So definitely check out those books when you have some opportunities. Um, obviously, it was a pretty active week for gaming. I know what PAX East is going on right now in Boston. Very unfortunate that we could not make it there this year, but we're definitely going to be at E3 in some capacity. I do believe. We'll talk more about that in the future, but for right now, a lot of things did happen this week that we're definitely going to dive into. Before we do that, I'm going to let you all know what we have been playing. So I'm going to go to you first, Gary. How about you let everybody know what you've been playing this week and what you've been up to?
Same two games really, like Overwatch and the Division 2. I didn't get to play a lot of them, but yeah, pretty much the same games, Overwatch. Um, I'm gonna go on about that because I know it's gonna make Ed annoyed. Um, Division 2,
Appreciate it.
you're welcome. Division 2, I'm still enjoying it. I think I gained a few levels since last time. I can't remember what level I was on the last show, but I'm in like the 20s now, so I'm like level 23 or something. I played some with Dro, which is another one of the Koalition co-founders. He actually helped me level up a lot because he's already in the end game. Um, so yeah, thanks to him. He also gave me some equipment and stuff, so that's cool. Shouts to Alicia too. I played with her.
Uh-oh.
Um, but yeah, I'm really enjoying the game, and I love the difficulty in the game, like because and we're gonna talk about difficulty in games later, but I I like this because it's like it's difficult within reason, like it's you whenever you die you feel like, okay, I really messed up here, I did something wrong and I got to approach this differently the next time, or I have to equip different abilities, or I have to change my loadout, like and it motivates you to do better basically, and that's what I really like about the game, even though like I die a lot in that game, like even on because sometimes I'm just like, all right, let me get this control point before I do the next mission real quick, and I'll mess around and die trying to get the control point, like even though that's supposed to be easier, but yeah, um really good game. I hope Ubisoft continues to support this game in the long term because I feel like it's a really good game, and especially if you play with people as well.
Oh yeah, I agree 100% with everything you had to say about the Division Two. Obviously, I'll get into what I've been playing later, but I'm absolutely loving that game. It's very hard to put it down. Normally, that's how you know, okay, this is something special. But I do feel the need to hurry up and level up to get on everybody's level, so to speak, because man, you will definitely get owned if you try to play those multiplayer modes against people who are a lot more higher in their skill set in the armor and everything than you are. So I have some work to do. But
Do you actually play the PvP modes?
I tried some of the multiplayer, and I did also try the multiplayer at the preview event, and there was the one particular individual that we played. Our team kept playing where he just kept using this shotgun and just one shot kill, get up right next to somebody, blow them away. I haven't experienced that yet in the actual, in the game itself. I'm pretty sure that weapon is still there though. Hopefully it's leveled out because it felt like it was just a little bit too overpowered. But yeah, I did play some of the multiplayer, and it's still challenging. Again, if you don't have if you're not leveled up, if you're not communicating with your teammates, or they don't talk back with you, then you can't really plan and strategize. So it is a little challenging, but it's a lot of fun, and it takes time to really get good, in those types of modes. But that's the point. And as you said, we'll get into difficulty talk later, but that's the whole point of it. You have to take the time to focus. And once you take time to focus and know everything that you're doing, then everything will work out eventually, but it takes practice. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
awesome
like
game.
everyone I hear talk about the multiplayer PvP. They say it's not even worth it because it's not balanced at all. So
Uh oh. Well, hopefully they will improve upon that. I mean, I know right now a lot of people they're in that campaign or they are already at the in-game content. Um, so hopefully, Ubisoft is getting this feedback and they can improve. I mean, they've been pretty consistent with the updates and trying to keep the game up to par so far. So hopefully, this is something that they will continue throughout the year and well into next year because I know they have a huge content schedule planned for this. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's good. So that pretty much concludes what you've been playing for this week.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's all I've been playing.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to you next, Ed. How about you? Let us know what you've been playing, what you've been up to this week.
Yeah, same thing. Division 2. Think I'm at level 23, 22 around there. I've been doing nothing but the campaign with a friend. Uh, that's pretty much it. I like the game a lot.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So as for what I've been playing, I've been playing. I've actually been playing a lot of stuff. In the last day or two. So I'm gonna try not to take too much time. So just to jump right off of Division, I was playing Division 2 yesterday for a couple of hours, trying to level up my character and complete some of the story missions and the side missions. And I do agree with what Gary had to say. I do like that the game is difficult because whenever I do lose, if I do decide to play a mission solo or if I'm trying to do any of these other takeover situations, um, I do learn from my mistakes and I come back and I'm able to get the mission completed. So I do like the game. I do like the fact that there is loot literally everywhere. And I think that that's one aspect of the game that definitely will keep people coming back if they're trying to collect stuff to complete certain projects or craft certain weapons, so on and so forth. That is one of the things I love about the game. So I definitely do intend to spend more time with it. But again, I'm only at I think level 15 right now, so I have quite a ways to go before I can actually get to the end game content. And of course, I'm taking my time to complete the campaign. So hopefully, I will be able to complete that sometime next month. But we'll see. We'll see. Um, as for what else I've been playing, I did spend some time playing the Mortal Kombat 11 beta. I spoke about this on the Throwdown the other day. And I played the beta some more yesterday because I wanted to try out some of the other characters. When I had first tried it out, the beta, I only played a Scorpion. And so I got a chance to try out the other 4 characters that are in the beta, which is Jade. Jade is one. Uh, we, of course, had I'm not looking at my list of all the people that were in it right now in front of me. But wait, Ed, you have something you was going to add?
Oh,
No, no. So yeah.
uh,
So we'll say what?
while you were pulling up the list, I was gonna say like, actually, I'll wait because what I'm gonna say might steer the conversation away. So carry on.
Uh oh. So like I was saying, the beta has about 5 fighters in it. I'm not near the list right now, so I'll have to talk about that later. I'm actually writing a preview for it, so people can look forward to seeing that on the website tomorrow. Maybe by the time this episode goes live on the website. But what I want to say about the beta is, it's a very short sample of what the final product is going to be. You are able to play on online matchups, of course, and I am playing on the Xbox One X. I will say right now, and I said this on the Throwdown, the net code that they use for this particular game, absolutely fantastic. I haven't noticed any connection issues, nothing. I was able to get into fights almost immediately, which I appreciated. Um, and so already that's a plus. Now I don't know how it's going to work on PlayStation 4 if it has any of those type of issues. I would assume though it works exactly the same. So we'll see when the game launches. But yeah, played online matchups, and then of course you can play the tower. Only 5 matchups though, because again they're only trying to give you an example of what to expect from the final game. In terms of the actual gameplay, uh, if you've ever played Mortal Kombat X or Injustice 2, you have a great idea of what to expect. Of course, you can use some of the things within the environment. Like there was one stage I was on. It was like in a desert setting, and I was playing as Scorpion against Jade. And when I got close to a cactus, I was able to pull the character onto the cactus and rub their face up against the cactus.
Ouch.
Different stuff like that. And of course, you already know the game is brutal in nature with the X-rays and all this other stuff. One thing I did notice though, as I was playing, obviously if you continue doing certain moves or if you're really beating the hell out of your opponent, the brutalities can come a lot easier. Like I noticed when I did the uppercut as Scorpion, I did the uppercut and just straight up knocked the person's head off. So stuff like that, very entertaining to see. And then, of course, the fatalities. And the one thing that I will have to say about NetherRealm is that I really do love the fatalities. However, I don't like when they reveal too many of these fatalities before the game actually drops, because I still want to be somewhat surprised when I see some of the fatalities. So, of course, I got a chance to do a lot of the fatalities in the game already with some of the characters that I was playing as. And some of the stuff is, I've already seen them, so the effect is a little less. It's not as impactful as when I saw it for the first time. So I would definitely encourage those that want to pick up Mortal Kombat 11. Try to avoid watching any of the videos of the actual finishing moves. I mean, if you want to see some of the character reveals, that's fine. But I would try to hold all suspension of disbelief until you actually play the game. So then it's more impactful when you see the fatalities and when you see who's actually in the game. But with that said, what I played of the beta was absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to play the finished version of the game in a couple of weeks. And if you are a fighting game fan, I have no doubt whatsoever in saying this is definitely, in my opinion, the best fighting game of 2019. It's not even close in terms of what other games are out there. I think this is at the very, very top of the list. So definitely check out my preview will be up tomorrow, and check out the game when it launches on April 23rd. Sure. Very, very lastly, in terms of what else I played, I did go back to play Mortal Kombat XL because I wanted to, again, see how this game is different from Mortal Kombat 11. And pretty much it is the same. Obviously, I think with Mortal Kombat 11, because they have invested so much, they've learned a lot from doing Injustice 2. It just feels like it's on a higher level. The quality, it looks even better than Mortal Kombat XL, because when Mortal Kombat XL came out, I thought graphically the game looked fantastic. This game, though, Mortal Kombat 11, though, it looks really, really ridiculous. And if you have a 4K TV, you're really going to notice a difference, like significantly. But yeah, Mortal Kombat XL, still a great game, still fun to play. If you have it, if you have Xbox One Game Pass, download it for free, then you're good. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of what I have been playing. Yeah, that's all I've been playing. Mortal Kombat XL, Mortal Kombat 11 beta, and then I spent a lot of time with Division 2. So oh wait, hold on. There is one more thing I probably should mention. Yeah, how could I forget that? I actually finished The Walking Dead, the final season, episode 4. Now, I'm doing a review for this right now, which will be on the website sometime this week. But all I want to say about the game, and I don't want to reveal any spoilers because there's already videos out about the game. I will just say this. I'm very glad with the way they ended the season. It kind of makes you feel sad to know that there will be no more Telltale games. There will be, because I don't know what Skybound Games. I'm not sure what they're going to do next, if they're going to continue on with any of the other licenses of the Telltale games, because I know they only was focused on finishing The Walking Dead. But I have to say, I did feel very sad after I completed that episode, thinking to myself, well, this is probably the last Telltale game that I'll play. And that's unfortunate, because what they did with this game is like they did a great job concluding this story. It kind of you kind of want to see what happens to the characters beyond this, but knowing that you won't get to see that, and also that you won't get to see other Telltale franchises get continued, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But for what it's worth, they really nailed episode 4, in my opinion. So I just have to say congrats to Skybound Games, Telltale, and the employees that came back to work on this. They did an excellent job, so I have to give them congrats for finishing out what they did.
Indeed.
Yes. But yeah, that finally concludes what I've been playing this week. As I said, I played a lot of games, so I want to make sure I spoke on some of these. With that said, let's go ahead and let's jump right into the topics, because There's a lot to discuss this week. So this first topic, I believe we got this news about maybe 2 days ago. Um, but I think we definitely need to talk about it because E3 2019 is right around the corner. I know we've had a lot of conversations on this show about E3 2019 and whether or not we think the show has lost its meaning because of certain people pulling out of the show. Well, we got some news from Bethesda that Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield both won't be at E3 2019 at all. So I want to go to you first, Gary, because I know that you are a huge fan of Elder Scrolls 6 and obviously looking forward to Starfield. What are your thoughts on Bethesda making this announcement when we are still about roughly 2 months away from E3 2019?
So yeah, I have a few things to say on this. So first of all, like the 25th anniversary of Elder Scrolls just passed, so like I mean, we would have expected some sort of huge announcement this year, about the next Elder Scrolls, because it's the 25th anniversary. That's big right there. Um, but nope. Now they've released this news, and there's going to be no news about Elder Scrolls at E3 at all. So that's very disappointing to fans of Elder Scrolls. Um, and secondly, it's like, you had some very bad PR last year with Fallout 76. Like you did this whole spectacle reveal at E3 last year about Fallout 76, hyping it up, making us think, oh wow, like I wasn't really looking forward to an online Fallout, but maybe this will be dope. Like you sold us and made us think there's a possibility of it being dope, only for it to completely bomb when it came out. Like so I feel like they owe us something. Like this year, they have to be on point. Like they have to be moving, like A1 accordingly, because it's like they're coming off of such a bad end to 2018, so they need a good year this year. And it's like if you're not showing Elder Scrolls 6 and you're not showing Starfield, which is like the two most anticipated Bethesda things, what are you going to be showing? Like, cause isn't uh isn't Rage coming out before E3?
Yeah, see, I'm glad you brought that up. I just want to say briefly, yeah, that is a very good question to ask because yeah, Rage is coming out in May, and then they also announced this week that the Wolfenstein, I think it's Youngbloods, which is about the two daughters of Wolfenstein, where you're basically playing as them. That's coming out in July, at the very end of July. And then, of course, we also know Doom Eternal. That's the other game that's coming out this year. So I don't really know what else they can show because we know about all this stuff that's coming out, unless they're working on some other new title that they haven't revealed yet. I that is a very good question to ask because they are still having a conference. So I don't know what they're going to show at that conference now. But carry on.
Oh no, like it's very concerning at this point because Rage is gonna be out. You're not showing Elder Scrolls 6. You're not showing Starfield. I mean, I guess Doom. Like maybe they'll show something for Doom Eternal because I'm not sure when that game is out. But I
That,
know,
that, 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 that that's definitely coming out this year. It's just they didn't really give a release date yet. So that's probably going to be one of their fall games, if I had to make a guess.
yeah. So I guess they're gonna show that. But like, I mean, what else? Like, what else can we expect from them? Like, these are the two most anticipated games. You're in sort of like a downward spiral at the moment, compared to where you were last year. So, um, yeah, like it's pretty disappointing that they came out and made this announcement. And then, like you said, Rich, like there's already been this cloud over E3 where it's like, is like, why is this show even happening at this point? Because it's like you have these big companies backing out, and now like Bethesda is one of the press conferences, which is usually what we look forward to, the press conferences. But now it's like the only big one is Microsoft, and the rest of them are looking pretty questionable at this point. So to hear news like this just puts a bigger cloud over E3, and I'm starting to see, people in our circle, on Twitter, they're actually questioning whether they're actually going to make the effort to go to E3 this year. Like it's that bad. So
Oh, wait. They are?
yeah, like
Uh-oh.
people we know have been saying this. So
Uh-oh.
yeah, it's like
Well,
what's going on right now. But yeah, it was disappointing to hear that. But what do you guys
well,
think?
I do have a few things that I definitely want to say. I'm gonna go to Ed first though, to just to see whether or not Ed cares about the Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield.
Well, the colleagues that you're talking about, the ones that don't want to go to E3, I think we know why they don't want to go to E3, and it's not because of Bethesda. They
Why?
don't want to go to E3 because they're running away from that Xbox smoke.
This guy.
And I know who you were talking about, Mr. Tony Polanco. You know, that's what I'm saying, man. These dudes online, man, they're nerds.
Put some respect on his name.
They're nerds, and because PlayStation ain't showing up, they think there's not going to be no party there. But Xbox sets it off, and they've been setting it off, and they're trendsetters in this game. So I just want to make that clear. But as far as Bethesda and no Elder Scrolls and no Starfield or whatever it's called, uh, I don't want to see anything by Bethesda after Fallout 76. Like, they need to. I don't know what they need to do. I feel like my relationship with them has been tainted. It's like a girlfriend that cheated on me. Like, it's very hard to, forgive. But, I don't know. You got to give me some good shit. And maybe I'll forgive, but I won't forget. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So just allow me to say real quickly. I know for a fact that Mr. Tony Polanco is still going to be at E3. So I mean I think some people we know are still going to make the show
He's just
because.
clout chasing.
No, I mean it's a
No,
legit question though. Like, I mean, why, like, compared to past E3s, it's like what, like, I mean, even if I'm not taking anything away from Microsoft because I do want to see them shine, I do want to see them have a great show. But even if they do, it's not going to be the same. Like, because what made E3 special is that you got to see all three console manufacturers go up there and show their work, like do their thing, and you got to compare and you got to, like, there was a conversation. But now it's like you're just gonna see Microsoft do their thing. Nintendo's in their own world right now, so like there's no competitive spirit. Like it's
But
just not
why
gonna be
take
the
it
same.
out? Why take it out on E3? It's not like the E3 commission was like,
I mean,
"Hey, you
I'm
guys
not
can't
blaming.
come here." If anything, how come this critique isn't on PlayStation? Like, y'all dudes are afraid of critiquing PlayStation.
I
Like,
mean, it is. I am critiquing them, to be honest. Like, this is, like, it is their fault. Like, they should still be there. They should still have something to show. And
well,
their last showing at E3 was terrible. Like, so I mean, yeah, like this is a lot to do with them. And we're gonna talk about the other thing they're doing later on. But yeah,
and
like
not
that.
not just their last E3 was terrible. Their last couple of, the one that people talk about. Which one was it? 2014 or 2015? The one with Shenmue
2015,
3.
2015.
That's the one that was mind blowing, game changing. How many of those motherfucking games have we done seen?
We saw the
Which one
Last
of those games
Guardian,
are out?
the Last
the,
Guardian.
the Last Guardian came out, so that's
Shenmue's out this
Where's
year.
Shenmue 3?
Shenmue's
Where
out
is the
this year.
Final Fantasy? Those were the big
Final
ones.
Fantasy definitely is
Where's
nowhere
Dead
near getting
Island
out.
2?
Well, wait,
Bro,
wait.
hold on. Here's the real question: where the hell is the agent?
Well,
Why you
the agent is a coming out. I assume now.
why you
'Cause-
bringing up the agent?
Because, man, that just goes to prove, like, at least on the Xbox side, they cancel games. They'll tell you, like, hey, that Dragon game that there was only been one fucking trailer for, it canceled.
There was
uh,
mad trailers for that.
yeah, there was a
There
lot
was
of
one
trailers.
trailer for it.
There was like 3 trailers.
Nah, there was one.
The game was also playable at Gamescom, so that was a definitely no one was expecting that game to get canceled. But Microsoft said no, we got to cancel it. So I don't know.
Final Fantasy VII has been playable for like 20 years, and it's still not out.
Well, that game is coming, right? Next generation, Gary. That's what you said. PS5 and Xbox 2 or whatever the next Xbox
there's
is
rumors actually that Square Enix is gonna try and rush that game out, but
well, they better not do that.
I hope they
no,
don't.
they shouldn't do that. That would be a bad decision. So let me go ahead and address some of the things that we both brought up in regards to E3 and Bethesda and all this other stuff. Now, as far as Bethesda is concerned, it is a great question to ask. What are they going to show at their conference? You know, Starfield not being there, Elder Scrolls 6 is not going to be there. Okay, that's fine. So they have to have something, because why would you announce? Because I did get an email about the save the date for the conference. So why would you send out that email to everybody to tell them to watch, and then you're not going to talk about these games at all at E3 2019? They have to have something that we don't know about that they're going to show at that show. I have no idea what it is. I don't believe that Arcade is working on any more Dishonored stuff at the moment. I don't believe that they're working on any more Prey stuff at the moment. So I don't know what they are going to show. I have no idea. But I'm definitely expecting them to show something, because other than that, why would you even have a conference if these games are not going to be there? So we'll have to wait and see on that. And then as for the comments about Sony and Microsoft and the E3 presence, I mean, I'm pretty sure Sony and Nintendo are going to have some type of direct. And we'll get into the Sony direct-esque presentation stuff a little bit later on. But yeah, even though these people say they're not going to be at E3, they're going to definitely still have some type of things to show, whether it's an online show or whatever. It's either around E3 or close to E3, because they know people are going to be watching anyway to see what happens at E3. So even if they're not going to be there physically, I'm pretty sure they're going to have something to show closer to the show or after the show, because I don't think they're just completely oblivious to the fact that people want to know what's going on with their products and services.
Well, of course, you know the Throwdown has to have a round table full of hate, of Xbox hate. So
why don't you ask Tony to be on the
well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But obviously,
why don't you ask Tony to be on the Throwdown sometime? Because it seems like you two need to talk.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea. You can do
that. He has to be on my platform.
What's your platform?
Okay.
The Kieran and Ed show. Episode 1 coming soon.
No, we have to try and make it happen though. Like, we have to get these two on the show, because clearly, clearly Ed has a chip on his shoulder.
I can't get over the man who said that Forza Horizon 4 or 3 or whatever the fuck it was is a bad game. Like, come on, bro.
I don't know. I don't know if that was for Forza Horizon 4. Maybe it was for the other game. I mean, I don't know. He said
Forza Horizon, the one that came out last year, was overrated and it was a bad game.
Well, that's what he said. Well, that really was the only. That was the only good exclusive that came out last year for Xbox. So I don't know what that comment.
Regardless of anything, that's beside the point. Was that a bad game?
Wait, where and when did he say this?
When he was on the co-op.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
We're going to have to research that comment and bring that back up in a future episode. We'll have him on and y'all can hash out the differences. But I don't think anybody's going to sit here. I don't think anyone is going to sit here and debate that Microsoft. They definitely are in an excellent position this year to have an excellent E3. And I thought the last couple of E3s were great too. So we'll see what happens. But anyone.
By the way, I'm just fucking around. I don't really have a problem with Tony. I just like to talk shit.
Okay, yeah, I figured that. I think we figured that. I think the people in the chat figured it also. So we'll see. But yeah. As for Bethesda, we'll see what they have to show. But like I said before, they got to have something that they're bringing, because as I already mentioned, Rage is coming out in May. The Wolfenstein both the VR Wolfenstein game and this Youngblood game is coming out in July, and then of course Doom is coming out sometime later this year. So I don't know what else they can show. The Elder Scrolls content, the Elder Scrolls Online, that's also coming out in June. So I have no idea what else they're going to show in regards of.
I think we see Dishonored 3.
You think there's going to be a Dishonored 3?
Yeah.
Well, that's it's. I guess it's certainly possible. I mean, I don't recall when the DLC came out. Wasn't that last year when that DLC came out, or was that the year before?
I believe it was the year before.
Okay, all right. So we'll see.
I'm pretty sure you guys seen the rumors about like a Fallout 3 remake or enhance or whatever. So I don't know.
Well, that might make people forget about Fallout 76. Maybe. We'll see.
I mean that would make sense, a Dishonored 3, because they could probably just reuse the assets and the engine from the last one and just upgrade it a little bit, I guess. Because my thinking is that they're holding off Elder Scrolls and Starfield to be next gen games, I mean, I guess they could put out like another Dishonored 3 before next gen kicks off, and then maybe it's a cross platform title or something as well. So cross generation, I mean. So
yeah. I think that's a great point. It's either is going to be that, or it's going to be another new IP or another old IP that they bring back. So I mean, I think they can have a lot to work with. So, because they brought back Rage, I don't think people was expecting them to bring back Rage. So, they have a couple of other franchises that they can definitely bring back for the same purpose. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. But it's going to be interesting for sure. So, any final thoughts on this topic before we move on to the next?
Nah. Next. Thank you. Next.
He said, "Thank you. Next." Okay, so let's go on to this next one here. We're going to talk about Borderlands 3, which was revealed at PAX East 2019. So I wanted to ask the question, are we excited? So I'm going to go to you first, Ed, because I believe you and I both saw the video. I'll share my thoughts after you. So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like I've been waiting for a new Borderlands game for a minute. I feel like this announcement is like a year or two late. Like, it's been a while since Borderlands 2. I know they did the pre-sequel and then the remakes or whatever, or they re-released it for the new consoles, but that never counted. I never really cared for those. So I've been waiting for a proper, sequel to the series, and we got it. The trailer was good. I like that we got to see a lot of stuff in the trailer. My only gripe with it was that it kind of, and it's weird to say it, but like it kind of looks like Borderlands, like the same thing, like, which isn't a bad thing, but it's also like it's been 5 years, maybe 5+ years since Borderlands 2. I was expecting, something a little more ambitious as far as the, graphics. I know Borderlands does have its own artistic style, but maybe, like, not switch it up, but upgrade it a little bit more. It didn't blow me away, but I'm just kind of excited for some more Borderlands, but I won't judge it too hard because this is the first trailer, but so far so good. Yeah, I really like the trailer.
Yeah. I never played Borderlands 1 or 2. I did play Tales from the Borderlands. I enjoyed the hell out of that. And I did see that during that presentation, they announced their Game of the Year edition, or rather just a definitive edition of Borderlands 1 and 2, and the pre-sequel, which is coming out on April 3rd. So that'll be available on, I believe, on Xbox as well as PlayStation 4. for those that haven't really had a chance to play those games, I am considering checking that collection out, um, just so I can get caught up to speed. But I mean, I'm glad that it was finally announced. I still think, and we've had this debate before on this show, I still believe that the timing on this game is a little late, considering that the Outer Worlds is also coming out this year, the Obsidian game, which kind of looks like Borderlands. So I'm a little bit more intrigued in that game, but I still will check out Borderlands and see what it has to offer. Because I know that you guys were really into that game when it launched a couple of years ago. I believe Gary especially enjoyed Borderlands 2. So pretty
Yeah.
sure he's also looking forward to 3.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because at the moment I really like looter shooters, like, games where you find new gear and stuff all the time. And Borderlands is one of those games, and it kind of made the looter shooter genre popular in the first place. Because the first two were really big games. I never played the pre-sequel, or I still haven't played Tales from Borderlands yet. As for Borderlands 3, I do feel like it's a bit overdue. And
Yeah.
I also agree with Ed in terms of the aesthetic because, I was watching the trailer and this looks like a Telltale game to me. Like it doesn't it doesn't look like that impressive to me. Like it looks like this could have came out 5 years ago, literally. Like, and it would
Oh,
have been
whoa, whoa, whoa!
it would have looked the
Ouch.
same.
So you're saying that there's not enough about it that looks like this? Oh, this is definitely like you can tell that this is a new version of a Borderlands game. It looks more like Borderlands 2.5 is what you're saying.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like Borderlands 2 looks better than this game. Like for some reason,
Oh,
like I don't
whoa,
know. Maybe it's just me. Like
whoa!
this really just looks like a Telltale game to me. But I don't know.
Well,
Um,
well, well, well. One thing I will say real quick, and I don't want to cut you off. They didn't really announce a release date for this, so I don't know how soon this is coming. But I would assume perhaps this fall, if I had to make a guess. But it could, if not, maybe it's still early in development. I have no idea.
okay, but yeah, I mean, I kind of see what Ed is saying though. Like I feel like they could have been more ambitious with the aesthetic. I'm not saying make like realistic, photorealistic graphics and stuff like that. You could still keep the art style, but just I don't know, like just uh make it look new, like this just looks like the same, or even a little worse to me, but um but yeah, I feel like there's more they could have done to like blow us away and make us think, wow, this is the next Borderlands. This is the next generation of Borderlands. This is how it looks. Like, make us excited. But this really just does look like, basically like uh, the same, more of the same, pretty much. But I am excited to play it though, because these games are pretty fun. And it's always, fun to team up with people and play and stuff like that. So much so that in Borderlands 2, I actually stopped playing because I was playing with Dro, and then, for whatever reason, he stopped playing, and then I stopped playing, So I was waiting for somebody else to play with me because the game is like, it's so fun just to play with other people, and it's not the same when you're playing by yourself, basically. So yeah, this is like the perfect game to like run through with friends and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it because I'm really in that kind of mood right now. Like Anthem and the Division 2 has put me in that mood to like play with people and play looter shooters and stuff. So this is like the perfect timing in my opinion. Even though it is late, it's the perfect time for this to come out. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, so that sounds good. So they did say that we're going to be getting more news on this very soon. Uh, Maybe as soon as April 3rd when the collection comes out of the first 3 games. But definitely looking forward to Borderlands 3 getting more details. I'm pretty sure it will be at E3 2019, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get a release date reveal either before or after E3. So stay tuned for that. But if I had to make a guess, this is probably going to be one of the fall games. September, October. If not before that, it'll be August. But we'll see. But any other thoughts on Borderlands 3 before we move on to the next topic?
Not from me.
Okay, so moving on, just to stay on this topic of E3 2019, Ubisoft has announced that they're going to have a conference. Once again, it's currently dated for June 10th, 2019. I believe that's going to be on Monday because they normally have those shows on Monday, which is the same day as the Sony conference would normally happen, but that's not happening this year. So in regards to the Ubisoft E3 2019 conference, I guess I wanted to ask you guys if you had any predictions as to what we want to see at this conference or what we think is going to get revealed at this conference. I believe we spoke about our thoughts on this before, but now I guess we can have more information to base off of what we know is already out from Ubisoft and what we know is coming. So, Gary, do you want to give your thoughts first as to what Ubisoft might show at their conference this year?
In terms of new game announcements, I think personally I would probably only be interested in a new Watch Dogs and maybe a new Rainbow Six, but it would have to be like amazing because like the Rainbow Six that just came out, it doesn't really appeal to me that much. But I used to love the old ones where you could like co-op the campaign together and stuff. So if they have like a real co-op style Rainbow Six, I would love that. But yeah, I think the only thing I'd be super excited for is Watch Dogs 3 because I know that there's no Assassin's Creed. I still haven't even played Odyssey to be honest. So I'm behind on Assassin's Creed. So yeah, in terms of new announcements, there's not that much that would get me excited from Ubisoft, but I do want to see more of Beyond Good and Evil. So I hope they show some of that basically. Um,
Absolutely.
and they'll probably show Splinter Cell or something as well. I expect them to do that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I certainly agree with that. Um, I have my own picks as well, but I'm gonna go to you next, Ed. What do you want to see at this Ubisoft E3 2019 conference?
You're muted, by the way. I guess he's not there.
All right, so yeah, I'll go next because I'm gonna be pretty brief. Um, First and foremost, in terms of the ongoing games, I think they'll definitely show off some more content coming to the Division 2, obviously. Um, they're going to continue to support the games that they do have. So we'll see some of that. I don't know if they're going to have more content coming For Honor, but if I had to make a guess, yeah, pretty much any game that has come out for them, they're going to have more content for it, and they're going to just make it a point to show that. So in terms of the newer announcements, Watch Dogs 3 is definitely going to happen. I know that they on Twitter they have been teasing stuff for Watch Dogs for a while now, and we already know that they're working on the third game in that series. So yeah, that's definitely going to come. As you already said, Gary, no Assassin's Creed because I know they mentioned that they want to kind of have that series have a little break in, every now and then. So we're probably not going to see Assassin's Creed, I think, until maybe 2020 or 2021 at the earliest. So yeah, I don't expect to see that. Beyond Good and Evil, yeah, they'll probably have some more updates on that. I'm still not expecting that game to drop anytime soon. I mean, that's a game where definitely one of a next gen title, in my personal opinion. However, they could have another way for you to play another, I don't know, I guess a alpha or something to that effect of the game. So I do think that that is possible to help them as they further test out the game and try to get it to the way that they want players to enjoy the experience. So I see that happening. Splinter Cell, I was so mad when they didn't reveal that last year So I've kind of lost some hope that they are going to do it this year. I mean, I kind of feel like it should happen. But I also feel like before we even get to E3, a lot of this stuff is probably going to get announced or leaked beforehand because that's what happened last year with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where we knew about this game before it was even shown at E3. And that kind of took away from the surprise factor of actually seeing the game. So I do definitely expect them to talk about Splinter Cell, though. I feel like that game should have gotten revealed a long time ago, but they wanted to, spend some more time on it. So that definitely is going to get revealed, I believe, because it's long overdue. We're long overdue for another entry in that series. Um, and finally, I know that the Mario Rabbids game was a massive success for both Nintendo and Ubisoft when it came out a few years ago. I know that Nintendo is continuing to grow that relationship with Ubisoft, and I have heard rumors of them making another entry in this series. So I would not be surprised if we get to see either a sequel to this game or another franchise that Ubisoft brings back and has Nintendo involved in as well. So I don't really know what that franchise is, but I definitely know whatever it is, we're going to see some type of game with Nintendo and Ubisoft involved once again at their E3 conference. Because I think they made it a point to show that that relationship is growing and it's a success. So we'll definitely see that. But yeah, that's pretty much all my picks. That and of course Just Dance, because that always comes out every year, no matter what. So those are my picks. Um, so Ed, are you back? Do you have any picks that you want to give, or you good?
He got excited when he heard you mention Just Dance, I think.
All right, so he can speak on that later if he comes back. We'll move on to the next topic. Um, this is actually something that I believe you wanted us to bring this up, Gary.
Sekiro.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
So
so yeah, I mean, I see a lot of chats go down, on Twitter and everything, and I've seen a lot of people tweet about Sekiro, and we were just talking about a stream that happened recently, but that's not what we're going to be talking about. Basically, Forbes released an article, and they were saying basically that From Software needs to respect gamers, and basically put in an easy option for people who find Sekiro and Dark Souls and games like that difficult. And this sparked, a lot of debate online. Some of the hardcore gamers that I know and speak to, they're basically saying that, gamers shouldn't be handheld. Like, these games are difficult for a reason, and that's the appeal of these games. And they were also saying back in the 80s and 90s, like, games didn't hold your hand at all. Like, a lot of those games on the SNES and the Genesis, and even before that in the arcades and the Commodore, those games didn't hold your hand. They were super tough, and you had to actually develop skill to beat these games and to play them properly. And a lot of people think that that's how gaming should be, and that we've been spoiled for way too long with these games that are easy, like too easy, and basically hold our hand through the whole experience. So I wanted to, have this discussion with you guys and see where you fall on this debate. Do you feel like games like Sekiro and Dark Souls and Bloodborne should stay difficult, like because there's people who like that in their games, or do you feel like all these games should have an easy option so that more people will be able to play them comfortably? And do you think that developers should cater to the gamers in the first place, like, and make these experiences easier? So that's the question. I'm not sure if Ed is back yet. So, like, what do you think about it, Rich?
So first and foremost, let me go ahead and say that I actually have played Sekiro. I have the game on Xbox One X. The only reason why I did not play it this particular week is because obviously, yeah, I was at that wedding, Got back late. Um, I didn't haven't really had time to really jump into it yesterday because I wanted to jump back into the Division and Mortal Kombat beta. But I definitely do intend to go back to Sekiro. Uh, I absolutely 100% believe that the developers should change absolutely nothing about their game. I feel like there are some games that they aren't designed for every gamer to play. And this is a perfect example. This was a game that was fully intended to be difficult. And I think that by playing a game this difficult, this will force a player to elevate the way that they are playing the actual game because it's a challenge. It's not meant to be an easy experience that you should just experience, that you're meant to just jump into and just you're able to see everything, play through the game with no type of challenge and you complete it and you get the story, so on and so forth. No, I feel like this is a game where you truly have to earn earn the feeling of having overcoming a difficult battle. I mean, this game is not designed that way for it to be an easy experience, and I don't really think it should be. I mean, we've had games in the past such as Ninja Gaiden, a very difficult game, but again, once you learn how to play the game and you master the game, then you really do feel a sense of accomplishment. So I don't think that the devs should change absolutely anything. I agree 100% with the Forbes article about them needing to have an easy mode. This is not how the game was meant to be experienced. And I think that anyone that knows that they know a game is a From Software game and they decide to pick it up, they should already know ahead of time what they're getting into because these are the same people who made Bloodborne and Dark Souls, etc., etc. So you already know the game is going to be challenging coming into it. And therefore, you should set your expectations right there. If you don't think you can handle it, don't buy the game. Don't purchase a game because it's the hotness or because it has great reviews, so on and so forth. If you know that the game is challenging by nature because of the developer's history of making these types of games, then you should set that expectation right from the very beginning. And if you can't handle it, well, don't buy the game. It's as simple as that. So for those that are having problems with the game, I would encourage them to take their time to learn how to play the game. You have to be patient and you have to learn if you truly want to master the game. But if you don't have the time, you don't have the patience, then don't bother playing the game. That's what I would tell
Yeah, and I would actually agree with that. Like I don't think they should have to, make the game easier or insert an easy mode to accommodate everyone. Because at the end of the day, there's so many games out there that, it's okay for a game to appeal to a certain niche or demographic of people, like not all games have to cater to everyone because at the end of the day, if you start trying to tailor your game to every single type of player, you're going to compromise what makes that game unique in the first place. So
them. Mm-hmm.
the unique factor with these From Software games is that they're all difficult and you have to basically master every aspect of the game to play it, and be able to beat it efficiently. You have to master things like movement and timing and things like that to really get the best of the game, and that makes you a better player at the end of it. So that's the appeal of these games, and I respect it. Even though I don't play these games because I get my ass whooped like all the time. Like I stay away, but I respect it at the same time, and I respect the gamers who do beat these games, and like they've got all sorts of crazy armor. They've beat the game like 100% and all that stuff. Like I respect those gamers because I know they put in work, to really beat that game and experience everything that the game has to offer. So to make those experiences more valuable, they have to keep it that way. Because if they add an easy mode and make it so every gamer can get like the most badass like weapons and armor and collectibles or whatever, like then you're basically devaluing the game because that's the whole point of the game. It's supposed to be complicated. So yeah, I don't think they should have to tailor to every type of gamer at all. Like, and those gamers have a point. Like the people who were saying that games were always complicated back in the day, yeah, they really were. Because I remember being, a kid, and I would struggle to complete a game. And now you got like 5-year-olds who can beat most of these games that are out right now. So, so yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having some complicated games out there.
Oh yeah, no, I agree 100%. One quick thing that I also will add is that for those that would have the excuse that they purchased the game and then they wasn't expecting this, they From Software and Activision actually released a video like days before the game came out with like a gameplay overview video which told you the story. And in that video, when they showed the gameplay, they said this is a difficult game. So sort of a disclaimer to give people ahead of time, this is what you're getting into. So if anybody didn't see that video because it was all over YouTube everywhere, then this is why people need to do their research before they actually purchase a game. I mean, I feel like nowadays people will see a game is hot, and then they're like, okay, okay, because everyone's saying that it's a critical masterpiece, I have to get the game, and then they just jump to it instantly and just say, or then they just purchase the game, and then they're left feeling disappointment. Well, this isn't quite as good as I want it to be. Or this isn't my type of game. People need to actually try a game for themselves. Don't go based on the hype of what everyone else is saying. If you don't want to spend the $60, that's fine. You can rent the game and try it out for yourself and see how it is. But I would encourage them to play it for themselves and get the experience beforehand. But make sure that they do the research. See what is being said about the game. See if the game looks like it's going to be too difficult or frustrating, then don't bother playing it. But I really think people do need to do their research before they decide to purchase the stuff, because instantly that's what I thought about, the people complaining about the game. And then, of course, we do know another person within our circle, Gary, that decides to use cheat codes for these types of games. And I don't really understand that right there per se, but I feel like if you have to use the cheat code, you probably shouldn't play the game, because that's not how the game was intended to be played in the first place.
Yeah, that was a big thing going on Twitter this week. Shouts to Hip Hop Gamer and Torrance Davis. I saw Torrance was getting at Hip Hop Gamer for using cheat codes and stuff. So that was a funny little back and forth to see. But they were both at PAX East, and they hung out, and it's all fun and games basically. But yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see. But for those that are out there playing the game, you're having a hard time, know that there are resources that you can definitely use to aid you in these fights. But know that there's a lot of people having a hard time. So, but you have to be patient. You have to pay attention. And if you are patient, you pay attention, and you learn over time, you can definitely have no problem breezing right through these games. But the challenge is meant to be there for a reason, and it shouldn't be changed.
Yeah, and also, like, people need to learn and come to terms with the fact that not every game is for you. Like, it's okay for you to not like a game, and for a certain game to not be your cup of tea. Like, that's okay. Like, people it's like people these days think that everything has to bend to their needs or to their will. It's okay if you don't like a game. Like, if it's not for you, buy something else. Simple as that. Like, I don't understand why arguments like this have to exist. I mean, I don't know anything about the writer from Forbes, or if he had to review the game, or if he was forced to play the game or something. But like, it's okay to just not like a game. Like, I don't understand why this became such a big deal.
Yeah,
because I admit, like, there's games out there that I respect, but they're just not for me. So
I agree. But again, I'm pretty sure a lot of people that picked up Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, they saw that Metacritic score of the game, and they said, "Man, this game It's got like in the 90s. I need to pick this up immediately. Didn't even research it. They saw Activision. Okay, they just ignored or glossed over the fact that From Software is involved. And then as a result, they now are struggling. They're having a hard time. And they said, man, this game is not for me. But this is why I said people have to pay attention, because it's that same lack of paying attention is what is how they are also approaching the game. Not paying attention, not dodging, not parrying, all this other type of stuff and getting killed easily. It's the same type of a mentality, the way that they approached the game when they didn't really do the research on it beforehand. So people
Yeah.
have to pay attention.
Yeah,
So
we live in an era where Twitch exists, so like you can go and see someone playing the game. You know, there's enough content out there for you to research the game before you get it. Like so, yeah. If you feel like you bought something and you're not happy with it and you're upset, like that's your fault for not knowing what you were buying. So
absolutely,
yeah.
agree 100%. So on that note, any other thoughts on this topic before we move on to the next topic?
Uh, no, that's pretty much it. I guess Ed is still away, so.
I think your boy Ed is close to getting fired, and so that's why he should not be recording this show during work hours. Yes, that's right. The boss caught him. But let's move on to the next topic. Um, yeah, we only have two final topics to get into. So the next topic, and you can speak about this, Gary, because I believe you saw this presentation as it happened. I actually was traveling back from the wedding the exact same time that Apple decided to have this little presentation. So, of course, Apple had their reveal, their latest event this past Monday. And during that event, they revealed Apple Arcade, which, as a lot of people are calling, is Apple's response to Game Pass, because it's a game subscription service. So, Gary, feel free to tell us more about this service and what you learned, as well as what are your thoughts on the Apple presentation as a whole in regards to this particular item or service, rather.
Yeah, so Apple basically had, an event where they announced a whole bunch of services and subscriptions and stuff, They had the Apple News, they had the Apple Card, and, their TV service thing as well, which I kind of turned off at that point, so I didn't see the full details, but I did see Apple Arcade, and I think it's a pretty cool deal. For people who do play a lot of games on their phone. Over recent years, I haven't really been playing many games on my phone anymore. I used to, like back in the day and stuff, but now I don't really play too much. But for people who do, I think this is a good deal. Because you pay, I think it's like $10 and a month, and you get access to a number of different games in the service, and there's no ads or anything like that. I guess for certain games there's going to be like benefits as well. So like maybe you get some microtransaction packs or something, or it's every game is going to be unique, I guess, like to what it includes inside of the subscription. But if you're the type of person who plays a lot of games on your phone and you want to try different games and without having to pay and things like that, like this is probably a good way to organize that. So a lot of people are comparing it to Games Pass and PlayStation Now and other services. I don't think it's quite the same, because the type of games you're getting is very different. I do think Apple is trying to work with more developers to make more unique experiences and more exclusives and stuff like that. So I do think they will work on getting exclusives and things like that will make it more valuable. But at the moment, I don't think it's going to match the type of games you're getting on Games Pass and other subscription services like that, because with Games Pass, you're talking full length video games, like, and this is just like mobile games. So it's really not the same, but I understand why people are comparing. So yeah, I mean, if you're already in the Apple ecosystem and you play a lot of games, I guess this is cool for you. And I feel like perhaps in the future, maybe they could do a lot with this and make it a competitor to things like Games Pass and Stadia. But right now, like this version of it, I don't think it's going to be the same thing. Um, and you know, the people who play a lot of games on their iPhone, they are very different gamers to the people who would get Games Pass and you know services like that anyway. So this is serving a completely different audience, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, the option is there. What do you think about this, Rich? Is this something
So,
that you would be interested in, or do you even play games on your phone?
so I have played games on the iPhone in the past. A lot of those mobile games that were popular, so to speak. But in terms of this service, what I will say about it right now, and again, what little I have seen of Apple Arcade, it's still. I would have to admit I'm a little bit more interested in this than I am in the Google Stadia, only because they did announce some of the studios that they are working with, that Apple is working with, and some of the content that some of the stuff is being made exclusively for Apple Arcade. Whereas with Google Stadia, Google hasn't really announced anything yet in terms of what games are coming to this, for this particular service. Now, obviously, they do have some exclusive games that are going to be coming to the service, but they just haven't. They're not talking about it yet. Um, but with Apple, I do think, as someone who has owned and been an Apple fan since I was in high school, and I actually am now transitioning out of Apple and getting more into Windows. Like my next desktop computer is going to be a PC. I'm not doing any more stuff with Apple because I don't really see them innovating when it comes to the actual computers anymore. They're more so focused on the software, iOS, and the mobile devices and stuff like that, which is fine. But I definitely am moving away from Apple. But I will say, for the longest time, being someone who has had an iMac, so on and so forth, I have wanted games to be on that platform. And while there are some devs that do make some games that can run on the iMac or a Mac device, I just don't feel like Apple has really taken advantage of the space to really have gaming as something on their platform. So to see Apple Arcade is great that they're doing it now. Um, Still a little bit too late for me because I am going to be, like playing a lot more on PC. That's what my goal is for this year, to get a gaming PC and just play a lot of more stuff on PC in general. So it's a little too late for me, but as long as I have an iPhone or iPad, I will definitely give Apple Arcade a try. And I do admire their ability to want to get into this whole game subscription space because it can be very lucrative for them as well. But I have to say, at least my earlier impressions right now, I do think this is more promising than Google Stadia, only because I have no idea what games are coming to Google Stadia that I don't already know that are going to be exclusive for that. Whereas with this, I do know that Night School Studio that made Oxenfree, which is a really great indie game that I played several years ago, to know that they're working on a game exclusively for Apple Arcade, that makes me very excited. So I will definitely give that a chance over Google Stadia. But to be determined with Google Stadia. But I do have a lot more faith in this right now, more so than Google Stadia in terms of alternatives to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yeah. You know what? I have to give props to all of these tech companies, man, because like they are really talented at making you want to spend money that you otherwise wouldn't spend. Like, cause like with these subscription services like Netflix and Games Pass and Apple Arcade and the news thing, um, like okay, let me use the news thing as an example. So this News Plus subscription from Apple is like basically it includes hundreds of magazines and stuff. Like so, all the popular magazines that you would see on the newsstand and things like that. They're all inside the subscription, and you get access to all of them, on your iPad or your iPhone, to read at any time. Now, I like in my head when I saw that, I was like, like maybe I should get that because I do need to read more magazines. Like I do like reading magazines, but I haven't actually read a magazine in like 2 years or something like that. Like so, it's like they're making you want to spend money that you really would not spend otherwise. Like so that's the thing they do with these subscription services. They make it look lucrative, they make it look valuable and like something you should have. And I feel like they're all really good at selling these subscriptions.
Well, as far as Apple News, I feel like in that way, the way that you're saying it, I feel like you're making yourself look like a sucker, or you make yourself sound like a sucker.
Whoa,
What?
whoa, whoa!
Where's that
Whoa.
coming
Because
from?
no, because at the end of the day, that Apple News Plus thing, it really is like a really great deal. It's a really good thing,
No, that I know. I
but
know.
like,
That's what I'm saying. Like
but
it
it's
actually
not
is.
for me. Like, it doesn't tempt me because I don't read magazines. But you, like, they're kind of getting at you because you just said it yourself. You're like, maybe I want this because I want to read magazines. So like you're getting suckered into that, and that's kind of on you at that point. I wouldn't put no blame on Apple for that, but for the man, the little businessman that reads the L.A. Times or New York Times, Washington Post, all that shit. It's like I, it's good for them because they actually do read newspapers and magazines and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm down to shit on Apple with you, but not for this one.
No, I don't know if you heard like all of what I was saying. Like I wasn't actually like shitting on Apple with that. I was saying that all of these companies are really good at making you want to spend money that you otherwise wouldn't have spent. Like that was all I was saying. Like I wasn't saying Apple was bad for it. Like that is a valuable service. Like if you want to read magazines, that is a great deal. Like but I'm just saying, like, overall, like, all these companies are really good at making these subscriptions look lucrative and valuable and like something you should have. So that was what I was saying. But
I
since
don't,
you're
I don't, I don't think that. I don't agree with that though. I don't think they make it look. I think they make it a bargain. They make it a great deal, but is it lucrative? I don't know if Rich reads newspapers like New York Times and shit like that. I don't think he does. He would have mentioned it by now.
No,
But I don't think he's feeling that way like you are, where you're kind of like
but I'm
so
sure
like
Rich has some subscription though. Like I'm sure he has Netflix or one of the subscriptions that are out there. I'm sure Rich has at least one of them.
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
But that's come on, that's Netflix. This is more like a Reader's Digest
I
type
know
of
I
thing, you
wasn't
know?
specifically I was highlighting that one as an example, but I was saying all subscriptions. Like I was saying like all of them.
Hmm.
Like they're all like that. They make you want to spend money that you wouldn't spend otherwise. Like cuz if we're talking Netflix for example, like I wouldn't spend like I probably wouldn't have spent $10 this month to rent a movie or watch a movie or something like that, but I do have that subscription. So it's like, all these subscriptions, they're really good at making you spend the money on stuff that you wouldn't have otherwise. So
I don't agree with that statement.
it's okay. I don't know what there is to disagree with, but
You're saying that you're because the way that you're implying it is that like, and I'm taking it with the Apple News thing. Like that's those magazines is something that I would never touch. But now they made it like accessible and cheap to read all these magazines. That doesn't make it lucrative to me because I already wasn't reading those magazines. And what you're saying is that you weren't reading them, but now that they made it, they are lucrative to you. Now you do want to do it. And I just think that's just based on the person. Like, are you getting suckered into this? Like, people do get suckered into buying shit that they don't need all the time. And I'm not that type of person. I don't buy things that I don't need.
okay. I think we're kind of saying the same thing, but in different ways. But like, what subscription services do you have?
The typical ones, the Netflix. I have Hulu, and I have Apple Music, and that's it.
Okay, so like if you didn't have Apple Music, would you have paid to like how much is Apple Music? Like would you have bought an album this month if you didn't have Apple Music?
No, I would have downloaded it.
Exactly, like they're making you spend money that you wouldn't have spent otherwise. That's my only point.
Here's the thing with downloading music. It's crazy how like let's say 10 years ago, downloading music was a way of life.
Yeah.
Like that's just what we did. Nowadays, I really couldn't tell you how I would download an album. I don't. I'm totally clueless on it. Do people still BitTorrent? Do people
Yeah.
go on Rapid Share? I don't know. Like I
And
don't. The
that's
game's
good. Like
changed.
that's good as well. I wasn't knocking these services because I think they're doing a lot of good too because they're keeping money in the ecosystem so that artists and creators are actually getting paid. So I think that's a really good thing because last decade we used to pirate like everything crazy, but now people are actually getting paid, and I think that's a good thing for the economy and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
was
mean, I
just I
haven't
was
even
just making a point.
downloaded. I don't even download movies no more. Like I don't know. I've been out of that game. Like I don't know how to do it no more.
Yeah, I mean I
Well. For your sake, it's good that you don't know because you're on a live show, and if you did know, then you would be in a lot of trouble, good sir.
No, but Ed, since you're back now, what was your thoughts on the Apple Arcade?
Um, it just didn't seem like a good deal. I mean, obviously we don't know the price, um, but still, like at the end of the day, these are mobile games. What's the quality that we're expecting here? And not to knock on mobile games because I've played a number of mobile games that I really love. The Fruit Ninjas, the original Angry Birds. For what it's worth, was a pretty good game, pretty entertaining mobile game. But I mean, it doesn't really uh, get out of that realm. Like you're not gonna get a engaging experience, story driven experience like the things that you get, like the games that you get on console. So like, I want to know like what's the range of games that we're gonna get with the Apple Arcade? Is it even gonna be worth it? Like, what's the quality in them? What's the pricing? And at the end of the day, it's games on your phone, games on your iPad. Like, that it's just not for me. Maybe it's for some audience because I mean, mobile games do, make money and stuff. But like, like, nah, I don't think it's anything. I think it's as threatening as Stadia.
Mm.
Like, I don't think the major consoles need to worry about this at all.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, like this is like I was saying before. The type of people who play games on their phone that much are different to the type of gamers who would buy like Game Pass or something. Like it's two different audiences, I think. So for a certain audience, I think this is great, but for us, like people like us, I don't think it's that big a deal. And in terms of the games on it, like because they're saying it's an Apple curated list of games, so it's like it's not every game in the App Store. It's like games that they select to be a part of the program, or I guess in some cases, publishers can submit their game to be part of it too. So it's not going to be like every single game is inside this subscription thing. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm sure they're going to have like exclusives and stuff, and they're going to work with publishers to make exclusives. But I feel like when this comes out, like maybe for like the first year, it's probably going to be kind of trash, to be honest. But maybe it will get better over time. But we'll
Yeah.
see. So yeah, I mean, it seems like none of us are particularly interested in Apple Arcade.
Nah, not
No,
really.
Listen, I will say this. You know, when Ed started talking again, it sounded like he was coming to the defense of Apple and as an Apple fanboy. So I'm glad that y'all have hashed out those differences.
I'm definitely not an Apple fanboy. Nah, I'm just not.
That's interesting. Well, we'll see what happens with Apple Arcade, but I'm going to stick to what I said earlier. I still think that this is a I think this is more promising than Google Stadia because I at least know that there are games coming to to Apple Arcade. So we'll see. So let's move on to the final topic for today's discussion, and this is obviously a topic that I know Gary could not wait to talk about, as well as Ed, because they very much enjoyed what we saw from Sony this past Monday. Is Sony's State of Play broadcast, which is basically Sony's own version of the Nintendo Direct. So I'm going to go to you first, Ed. What did you think about the show? Were there any highlights that you thought were worth mentioning, or was you not impressed with anything that you saw?
Yeah, there was a highlight. The ending was pretty good.
Oh man.
Nah, but in all honesty, I didn't watch it. Like, I forgot about it, and like, no hate, but like, it seems like I didn't miss anything.
Well, this is what I have to say about the show, and then I'll go to Gary. The show, obviously, there was a lot of PlayStation VR titles, and I know that Sony announced shortly thereafter that the VR sales, I believe, they're either at or over 4 million. So that's great for PlayStation VR that it's still selling well, even though some of the bigger titles still are to come from this particular platform. So, I mean, if you're a PlayStation VR owner, you definitely have a lot to look forward to in terms of the games that are coming. I know Blood and Truth is a game that we actually saw at PSX back in 2016, and you know when I saw that game, I thought, you know, this is like one of those spy type of games. I didn't have any issues with it. I thought that that was actually one of the more impressive games that I did see at PSX as far as the PlayStation VR titles are concerned. So it's glad to know that that has a release date. It'll be out, I believe it's May 24th. So that's something people can look forward to. And then I know that they showed another story trailer for Days Gone, which is coming out next month. I didn't really understand why they showed that because we've already seen enough of Days Gone. So I understand they want to show it to get some more attention to it, to remind people that it is coming, which is fine. But I don't want to see any more trailers for that game. I just want to play the game now. So I'll get that wish next month. And the one thing that I will say, they did show a trailer for Mortal Kombat 11. I don't really understand the point of showing any of these type of trailers because when I'm thinking of this as a Sony direct show, I only want to see PlayStation exclusives on this particular show. Now, case in point, a day after they aired this, they revealed news that Dreams, which by the way is Gary Swaby's most anticipated video game of 2019. But they announced that Dreams is going to actually open up as a paid beta starting next month. So I was very confused about that because I'm thinking, why wasn't this on that show? I mean, that easily could have replaced the news about Mortal Kombat because Mortal Kombat is also coming to Xbox. So I didn't really understand why they did that. You know, obviously the trailer they showed, that old school versus new school Mortal Kombat 11, it's a cool trailer. But this is a game that is on every other platform. So I think if you're going to have a show like Sony State of the Play, it should only be on PlayStation titles. It shouldn't be no third-party stuff whatsoever. And that's just my personal opinion. But that's the only thing that I will say. Yeah, I didn't really think the Mortal Kombat thing should have been there. I thought if you want to get people's attention on Dreams, why not show this trailer in this news during that particular broadcast? But just my personal opinion. So with all that said, Gary, do you have any thoughts on Sony's first state of play show?
I didn't watch it, but how often are they having these, by the way? Because wasn't they gonna do these like regular, like on a regular schedule or something?
They never revealed when they were going to have when the next show was happening. My guess is that just like the Nintendo Direct, it'll just happen whenever they decide. So
Okay.
they may have one next month because I'm pretty sure that Dreams will be highlighted next month since it wasn't in this particular presentation, which I'm totally fine with. But they didn't really give any formal dates, so we'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Well, I feel like Sony's building up to something. So this new, show or whatever or stream that they're doing, I think this is their way of like building towards the future and basically, controlling their own flow of information, which they've kind of been doing the past few years or so. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think this is just something new that they're doing, and I guess it adds more rationale for them for pulling out over E3, because now they can just focus on putting out stuff when they want on their own time, and they don't have to worry about having their stuff compared to another company's, you know. So I feel like it's smart to do this, but I think they should only do it when they have something major to show at the same
Hmm.
time, because otherwise you're just wasting people's time. Because a lot of people were actually excited for the stream, like, and people tune in expecting to see like a major, megaton or a big reveal or something. So because you're not announcing what's going to be on the show ahead of time, it's like you could potentially waste people's time with this as well. Um, so yeah, they should only do it when they have something major to show people. Like Nintendo kind of does that, I mean, sometimes the directs are a bit meh, like you really didn't need to have this, but a lot of times they are showing something of relevance or something that people have been waiting for. So I think Sony needs to do that, basically, if they're gonna have these kind of streams. So and from what I heard, I didn't miss anything by not watching this. I
Well,
will I will say though that this could be a good way to show more VR stuff because um when it comes to E3, a big part of what they've been lacking is showing how they're supporting VR and new content that's coming for VR. So I do think they need to be better at that. And if they're gonna do these frequent streams or whatever, this is a good way to highlight new stuff coming to VR and talk about what they're doing with VR and what's in development and things like that. So they should definitely do more of that. I know this was where they announced the No Man's Sky VR, right?
yeah, they did announce that, which I know a lot of people are excited for. They also did show, in addition to that, they did show that new game, Concrete Genie, which is a game I believe they showed in the past. So I guess you could say for the people that care about these types of games, they had something for them. But me
Mm.
personally,
I'll
I wasn't impressed with what I saw because I want to hear about the other bigger titles. What's going on with those games? But yeah, go ahead, Ed.
I want to know who you know that is excited for VR No Man's Sky.
Oh well, we both
Yo,
know him. His name is Carl Daniel.
I'm not gonna lie
He's a
though.
troll.
I'm not gonna lie. Like that game has potential. Like I'm not. I probably sound crazy right now, but I feel like that game could be better in VR because that game is like all about exploration, and I feel like in VR it kind of suits that game.
This from the guy that bought the legendary edition of Anthem.
Like you're gonna hold this against me for like years now.
Yeah, that's gonna be attached to you.
You bought the game too, though, right?
Nah, I didn't actually.
I thought you did. You said you did.
Game share, bruh. Game share.
Okay.
Oh well.
You're doing all those scam things. Okay, cool.
Nah, that's
No.
something that
Oh.
you can do on Xbox.
All right, cool. But yeah, like I feel like that has potential. Because the biggest
What?
like critique about No Man's Sky, like when it came out, was that it wasn't what people were expecting, and there was a lot of stuff that they said would be in the game and it wasn't. But if you just look at it as just a space exploration game, like if they didn't overhype the game, it could have been like Journey. You know, remember how big that game was because it's like exploration and it's just an experience. I feel like No Man's Sky could be that, in VR. Like, so I think it could be okay. But I'm not super excited for it. But and I'm not saying it's a megaton or anything. But I feel like that could be good.
I feel like the problem with No Man's Sky. The concept of the game is fine, but this is clearly a game that it came out way too soon. And when they first revealed this game, I believe it was at a video game award show, and it had such of a huge reaction. They were like, "Oh, they probably was on cloud 9, thinking like this is great." They probably felt a little pressure to make a game that had more, that brought more to the table. But obviously, they didn't have enough time to do so. And what they should have done is they should have just took about 5 or 6 years. And I feel if they released this game, because they made all those changes into the game, et cetera, et cetera. If they would have released this game now in the form that it is now, without having gone through all that other type of stuff, maybe it would have been more successful. But this is a perfect example of this generation where a game gets released and it's obviously not finished, it's not fully done, but it gets released anyway, and then people will keep doing these constant updates to try and get it to a point where it's good. But then the whole thing is that people who came in the first time now they don't really care about it as much because they have moved on and are playing something else. So this is a perfect example of that. So I wish that they would have done that, but for those that are still interested, more power to them. I'm not hating, but I have to say, man, I'm surprised Hello Games is still working on this game after all this time.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with all that said, we'll see what Sony does with these shows in the future. I do believe, as was brought up earlier on this show, they will definitely bring this back for E3. And I do believe you'll have a lot more meaningful announcements with that particular show. I mean, the first one, I wasn't really too impressed with what I have seen, but I definitely expect it to get better, especially if you're going to have one around E3 time. There's no way, like, I better get some updates for Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, and Last of Us Part 2. I mean, this is what I'm expecting to see when you talk about we have something to talk about. This is what I want to hear. Release dates, release windows, something to the effect of what is going on with these titles. So hopefully we'll get that later this year.
I
But
agree.
yes. But with all that said, any final thoughts on this topic before we wrap up today's show?
No from me.
Okay. All right. So on that note, definitely want to take some time out to thank you all for listening to this week's show. Uh, we definitely have a lot of other things that are in the works, so stay tuned. There's quite a bit of things going on at the Koalition that we will talk about and announce very soon. So stay tuned for all of that. But yeah, in the meantime, the floor is now open for shout outs. Ed, do you have any shout outs that you would like to give?
Nope.
All right, yeah, that's it. He said no. All right, I want to give a shout out to everybody on the Koalition staff. Um, Shout out to JJ, Dana, Mr. Tony Polanco, Tatiana, of course, Gary, and all the rest of you guys. As for the next week's co-op, we'll see what happens with that. I unfortunately will not be on the show next week because I'm actually going to WrestleMania next week. So, I definitely will have something to say about that. We are probably going to have a WrestleCast to talk about some predictions for the cards. this upcoming week, so stay tuned for that. But we'll have some type of show next week, perhaps. But stay tuned. We'll have more details on that in the future. And Gary, the floor is now yours for shout outs.
All right. So, as usual, big shouts to all of our, Patreon supporters, our loyal fans of the show and everything. M. Collins, Mauricio Aguilar, Himdil, Fergus Mills, Miguel, Antonio Rogers, and Sean Gority. We thank you all for your continued support and patronage of the show. And big shouts to everyone who took part in the live broadcast today. Christopher Hart and E-Nate. Big thanks for just getting involved with the show and everything and watching live. And shouts to the entire Koalition team. Dana, JJ, Tatiana, Tony. We might have some new people joining staff soon, so some stuff to look forward to in the future. Shouts to Ed for being here too, and that's pretty much it from me.
Absolutely. So thank you all for listening. Hope that you have a great week, and we will talk to you all very soon.
See you.